national research out tonight suggests more older Americans are breaking up. News specialist Sam Penrod with more on the surprising divorce rate among baby boomers.
Well, the study found that more and more couples who are in their 50s and 60s are heading to the courthouse to get divorced than many people would imagine.
There's a lot of relationship myths out there.
Jonathan Sherman, a marriage and family therapist, believes having a strong marriage requires effort regardless of your stage in life.
The commitment they made on their wedding day and actually translate it into a long-term, not only long-term stable marriage, but one that's also happy, one that's also really great and fulfilling.
But a new study from the University of Minnesota found that divorce rates have doubled over the past 20 years for people who are over age 35. Bill Duncan leads the Center for Family and Society at the Sutherland Institute. He says that while the research found the divorce rate is going down for younger couples, it's not a reason to celebrate.
I mean, that's one of the things we clearly see from the study is that younger people are cohabiting, waiting till later to get married, and so of course the rates of divorce among that group are smaller just because they're not married.
He believes society needs to find solutions to improve marriages.
You know, there's definitely cause for us to be concerned and to try and do more to strengthen marriage.
Those who counsel couples say there is reason for optimism.
Even though there are daunting divorce statistics, there are fantastic statistics for how we can turn things around. And when those who do the work, when we go to that statistic that 2/3 of divorces can be prevented with just education and intervention, there's great cause for hope.
First off, let me start by saying that all of these events happened at a very difficult time for me. It was 2008, my wife and I had divorced, the judge gave custody of my kids over to her, even though she wasn't the parent who actually did things with the kids. You see, my ex-wife was absolutely preoccupied with her profession. And I can't explain to you psychologically what made her behave this way. I spent many a night thinking about it. Maybe, just maybe, it all boiled down to the fact that she didn't know who her real father was. She had a stepfather who tried to give her everything she wanted to win her over. Her mom was always telling her, you have to be independent. You have to be able to take care of yourself. I don't know. Maybe all of that stuff went to her head. But regardless, in our household, I took the kids to school. I picked them up from school. I made dinner. I did homework, all while working my job. And while I did all that, she was 100% focused on her career, trying to move up the corporate ladder. Now, when you find yourself in a situation like that, time flies by. I mean, it really does. You don't even think about it. You just focus and do what needs to be done. And as far as I was concerned, taking care of my daughters was what needed to be done, no matter what she was doing. Now, thanks to the judicial system, which favors mothers no matter what, I give up my home and have to move into this small 2-bedroom house. It's a cozy place right on the Trinidad River in Covington, Louisiana, but it's nothing like the massive home that I had just left. And just so you understand the initial conditions I was living in, I didn't have much at all. I personally was sleeping on a twin-size bed. I had a sofa, a love seat, a small flat-screen TV. That's about it. Hell, I only had 7 dishes, 4 cups, 3 forks, and 3 spoons in the entire house. And I went into a very, very deep depression for the first 30 days. The combination of my living arrangements and that void that was there because my daughters weren't around really did a number on me. I found myself waking up, going to work, stopping at the barroom, getting a drink, coming home, and drinking myself to sleep. The very first time she touched me was on a Friday night. I remember falling asleep, laying across my bed on my stomach, and I feel something touching my inner thigh. But it's touching on the front of my body, which is pressed down into the bed. That soft sensation stirs me, waking me up. And when I fall back to sleep, I go into this vivid dream. I'm naked, laying on top of this beautiful woman, her legs wrapped around me, and we are making love. And as I say this to you right now, I will never forget her face because she was absolutely gorgeous. One flaw, this gash straight across her forehead and these huge stitches cutting straight across her forehead, almost as if someone tried to saw her skull open, and these large stitches that mended it together. I'm not sure if you remember being a teenager and waking up, having a wet dream. Well, that's what happened to me. I'm 35 years old, waking up, having wet dreams. Totally and utterly confused, I get out of bed, clean myself up, and crawl under the covers. Now get this, 3 days later, it's Monday morning. I just got out of the shower. I'm standing in the mirror naked, brushing my teeth, and I feel this touch on my shoulder. Like a hand is sliding over my shoulder, down onto my chest. This sensual, soft touch. Then I feel this body weight pressing against my back, almost as if a woman was standing behind me, her breast gently pressed against my shoulder blade, her arm draped over my shoulder, hand clasping me on my chest. But when I look up into the mirror, there's no one there. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, you're under a hell of a lot of stress. Things in your life have just gone completely off the rails. You got some weird shit going on. Just keep yourself cool, calm, and selective. There's nothing to it. This was going to be a big week for me. I had just racked up a shitload of debt ordering new furniture and getting paint so I can get the house together. I wanted things to be absolutely perfect because this was going to be the first weekend I had with my kids. So for the rest of that week, I went to work, came home, and was completely preoccupied with getting the house in order. The kids come over Friday after school, and I'm elated, happy, out of my mind to see them. We do homework, watch a movie, eat pizza, popcorn. Next thing you know, it's 10 p.m. and time for bed. And I remember this sense of accomplishment coming over me as I tucked them in, thinking and feeling like, okay, things are going to be fine. We're just going through a rough patch, but things are going to be fine. I tuck my youngest daughter in, close the door, and say goodnight. When I wake up the next morning, Kelly, my youngest, is in the bed with me, legs all over my chest, arms hanging off the bed, doing as she's done since she was 3 years old. Now, when she wakes up, she says, "Daddy, who's that pretty lady with the scar on her head that came into your room last night?" And I'm like, huh? She goes on to tell me that when she came in my room, there was this pretty lady sitting on the edge of the bed. She described her nightgown, her hair, everything about this woman. And it was the same woman from my dream. My daughter called it a scar on her head, but it was the same person. I lied to her, telling her that she was dreaming, but I knew at this point in time, something was wrong. "What did she say to you, sweetheart?" My daughter replies, "Nothing, Daddy. She didn't say anything. She just put her finger over her mouth, got up and walked out. She's a pretty lady, Daddy, but she's scary." I'm in the middle of comforting Kelly when my oldest daughter, Tamara, walks into the room, rubbing her eyes, saying, "What are we talking about?" "Nothing, darling." But I brush the whole situation off and cook us breakfast. That day, we go to the zoo, then go to the aquarium. I had one hell of a day with my children. Then that evening, we come home, I grill steaks, and we sit out in the backyard. My youngest is running around playing while my oldest daughter is talking to me about her mom and how things are going. She says that she wants to live with me, that she feels as if she's being forced to live with her mom. Staring into her young face, but looking into her eyes, I realized that my teenage daughter was growing up extremely fast based on the situation she had been put in. She goes on to tell me, "Dad, I never understood how much you did until you were gone." Tears roll down her eyes as she says, "I'm sorry if I was a problem, if I was mean, or if I was moody, or if any of this is my fault." I gently hold her in my arms and explain to her, "Honey, you're a teenage girl. For the next 4 to 5 years, you're going to have all kind of mood swings, all kind of emotional ups and downs, but I love you. We'll get through this together. Don't worry about it. Things will be fine." That night, we all sleep like a rock, and Sunday, we stay around the house all day doing nothing. Monday morning comes around, I drop them off at school, and the minute they walk away, I feel like this hole is being ripped open inside of my chest. Tears start rolling down my eyes, and my mind begins to talk to me, calling me a failure, telling me I'm a loser, telling me I'm the worst father ever for letting this happen to my daughters, that I was failing them by not being there. That day, so emotional, I called in sick. Now I find myself at home in a fragile emotional state, and all I want to do is sleep. I can feel that depression closing in on me like a piece of wood in a vice grip. 8 p.m. I'm trying to rest. My mind is racing when I feel this touch on my shaft. Then I fall asleep. Now dreaming. And in this dream, I'm having sex again was this beautiful woman, amazing breasts, long dark hair. I can physically feel everything happening. Then that dream is broken by my cell phone ringing. When I wake up, I'm naked on top of the cover. My Johnson is hard as a rock. Answering the phone, it's my oldest daughter telling me that she needs me to deposit money into her lunch account. Now pause right here in the story for a moment. Let me explain something to you. I didn't go to sleep naked, but when I woke up, I have a full Viagra hard on. And in this moment right here is the first time I saw her and realized I wasn't having dreams at all. Because now I'm rolling back over, hanging up the phone, trying to put it back on a nightstand, which I took it from, and I see a nude female body walking down the hallway away from my bedroom door. Jumping up out of bed, running into the hallway, and she's gone. Listen to me when I tell you at this point in time, I'm thinking that I'm losing my fucking mind. I've done flown way the fuck over the cuckoo's nest. But inspecting my bed, I realized that the sheets are wet. And I'm not talking about that you sleeping at night and you're sweating in your sleep wetness. I'm talking about the other kind of wet. Sex wet. Listen, so now I'm really messed up thinking this is some D-horror movie type shit. There's a woman living in the attic or on the walls. I'm climbing into the attic with a flashlight, checking the cabinets, looking for fucking secret doors. I'm freaking out. Listen, I'm so freaked out, I leave the house, hop into the car, drive up the street to the coffee shop just to clear my head. So now I'm sitting there, okay, thinking to myself, I know what I saw, I know what I felt. And as much as I tried to tell myself that it wasn't real, it was real. So I made a decision. Now listen to me, up until this point, things had just been happening to me. But at this point in time, I made a conscious decision to go back home and really try and figure out what the hell was behind this. So I go home, get in the bed naked, and before I could close my eyes to go to sleep, I hear a voice saying, "Come back, I want you." Again, there's a mix of emotions going on for me. I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm freaked out, I'm depressed, and I'm curious, all at the same time. And that night, from the minute I fell asleep to 6:20 in the morning when it was time for me to go to work, my dreams were all sexual and they were all good. At 6:20 in the morning, I wake up realizing that it was a wet dream, a very wet dream, and an impossibly wet dream for a man. So I decide to embrace it. Ghost, demon, at that point in time, I wasn't sure what the fuck it was. But all I knew was that it made me feel good. The same activity goes on for the next 2 months and it gets better and better. So much so that I'm racing home to go to sleep. I'm spending Saturdays in bed, losing myself in this perversion. And the more I lost myself inside of that perversion, the more I was able to see her while I was awake. I would catch glimpses of her standing in the mirror while I was taking my shower, or out the corner of my eye while I was cooking breakfast. Listen, I know that I sound like I've lost my ever-loving mind. Maybe at that point in time, I was just so lonely and depressed that I thought it was all good. I became infatuated with the idea of having sex with a beautiful woman at any point in time, no strings attached, or so I thought. Then it spirals out of control. My daughters come back and Kelly does what she normally does. She wants to sleep with me. We're laying there watching TV when I see her yanked off the bed onto the floor. At the same time, my oldest daughter is screaming, running out of the other bedroom, saying something was pulling her hair. And I knew it was her. I could feel it. Now we're all in my bedroom on the bed together, and the front door to the house.
Okay, now you know Dark Waters is not about to give it all away for free. Want the rest of this story? Go to IamDarkWaters.com and become a member today. Only $4.99 per month gives you access to his library of true horror stories. Become a member today. Go to IamDarkWaters.com and become a member today. Only $4.99 per month gives you access to his library of true horror stories. Become a member today.